Guess who's back? And now I have a Kwame hat. Good evening, demons and demonesses. Kwame Wahkan here. It's been a while since I've seen any of you, and since you've seen, well, pretty much any traces of me. Things have been pretty busy in my life lately, and like always, I don't mean for this to be a recurring excuse, but a girl's gotta work. Well, anyway, since I did have a little bit of free time, I figured I might as well share this story with you. Now, this story is actually about a band that I just recently discovered in the most ironic of ways. You see, the band that I'm talking about is Twin Temples. And the reason why I'm talking about them is because just recently they were kicked off from their tour simply for being too satanic. Let's get into this. Satanic rockabilly duo Twin Temple removed from tour due to being too satanic. Devil-loving two-piece Twin Temple claimed to have been kicked off of two of their shows with country musician Charley Crockett at the last minute due to Crockett's opposition to their satanic presentation. Via social media on July 8th, the duo, composed of husband and wife Zachary and Alexandra James, announced that they've been booted off the bill of Crockett's gigs in Troutdale, Oregon and Paso Robles, California on July 14th and 18th. They expressed their disappointment and apologized to those who wanted to see them. Today we were informed that Charley Crockett has decided to remove Twin Temple from his upcoming shows next week due to our satanic imagery, they wrote. Unfortunately, that means we will not be able to perform for you next week as planned. We are really disappointed as we were looking forward to getting back out and seeing you, and also what it meant as far as bringing different types of people and music lovers together. We are very sorry to anyone who is planning to see us. We're grateful for your support, not only of Twin Temple, but importantly of artistic freedom. Formed in Los Angeles in 2017, Twin Temple mixed 50s and 60s rock and roll and pop, but found their strongest fan base in the heavy metal community thanks to their subversive approach. Talking to Metal Hammer in 2021, Alexandra admitted that she thought their dark style would mean the band would never find a niche. We honestly thought there wouldn't be any Twin Temple fans, she said, flat out. People in the industry told us, you will have zero fans. You're going to alienate literally everyone who this is for. There's a vintage gospel/soul scene, but you can't bring Satan into that. That's Christian music. Right, well, I have more to say about that later on, but let me finish the article. The band have released 3 albums, starting with Twin Temple's Bring You Their Signature Sound, Satanic Doo-Wop, in 2019. Their latest is 2023's God Is Dead. Although the band are yet to announce details of a 4th full-length, they released a new single, a cover of the Rolling Stones' Painted All Black, in April. Meanwhile, Crockett is one of the most prolific musicians in the country scene, having released 17 studio albums since 2015. His latest, April's Clovis, came out via his own label, $10 Cowboy, following a trilogy of releases with Island. However, Clovis was removed from streaming services following a legal dispute with Island. It was re-released via Atlantic Outpost on July 3rd. Crockett has yet to comment on Twin Temple's statement, but the July 14th and 18th shows are still listed on his website at time of publication. Now, I'm going to put it this way. If Charley Crockett thought that he could try and ruin the careers of Twin Temples, he was greatly mistaken, because now I consider myself a Twin Temple fan simply because of this. Now, believe it or not, I'm actually a really big fan of soul and doo-wop and country and Motown and funk and pretty much all of the genres between ranging from the 1930s all the way up until today. So, like, if I gave you a list of all the songs on my playlist, it goes from Megadeth to the Black Dahlia Murder, And then, like, in the same playlist, I'll have, like, Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'll have, Lead Belly. I'll have, B.B. King, Peaches and Herb. And then it goes to Gwen Stefani and Lady Gaga. And yes, Beyonce. I listen to Beyonce now. I'll get more into that possibly in a later video. But overall, I'd say I have a pretty wide range and, a pretty broad tasting when it comes to music. Now, Twin Temple is one of those bands that, really kind of blew me away because the way that they record their music, it literally actually sounds like, they recorded it in the 50s and 60s, through the distortion, to the fact that they use vintage equipment. And I think in one of their latest music videos, it's a music video that I think you all should check out. It's called We're Going to Have a Satanic Orgy. I know, funny name, but actually very creative for a music video. The style is drawn in like a between a 1950s and 1960s animated cartoon. Some of it is in black and white, some of it is in color, which is something I like because, the whole black and white, that's basically the whole aesthetic of my channel. And I have to say they got bullocks of steel for releasing this on YouTube the way it is. I would show you clips of it, but, honestly, it's one of those music videos that you have to see to believe in. Plus, I want them to get the views, so I suggest you check it out for yourself. Now, as for Charley Crockett, this whole thing falls on his head. Like, you're telling me that you invited this band to go on tour with you, and you didn't even bother to do your research before you put them on the playbill. This is absolutely outrageous, and it's just a complete waste of the band's time. Now, the good news is another musician, Jack White, offered for them to go on tour with him and his band, so much respect to Jack White for that. And, this does mean a lot when it comes to artistic freedom, Don't get me wrong, I understand, if a band has, certain things that, you don't stand for, like if you discover a band has, racist lyrics, or a member of a band has done something terrible or committed, a horrible crime, I could understand not wanting to, perform with them. But, one thing I know about Satanists is that Satanists don't proselytize to people. They don't throw the religion into other people's faces. They don't go knocking on your door trying to get you to convert to Satanism or anything like that. Satanists mostly just stick to themselves and, interact with people within their own community. They don't try to, get other people to convert. Now, if there are people that are interested, they're going to have to do that research themselves. And, that's kind of how I got into it myself. And also, in regards to, the comment about, the record label, saying that they wouldn't find a niche. Well, believe it or not, for those that have been paying attention, there's been a large number of people that are trying to bring back, the oldies. Whether it be Steven Sanchez, Until I Found Her, whether it be Duran Jones and the Indicators with Don't You Know, or even Alex Sampson with his hit song, If You Were My Girl. All of these are oldies-styled songs that were released within the past few years, and they've all been pretty successful. So if there's people out there that listen to that type of music, what makes you think that there aren't people in, the goth and the metal community that aren't also interested in that type of music? Many bands have experimented with, the oldies. You do have a section within the heavy metal community called NWOTHM, which stands for the New Wave of Traditional Heavy Metal. So you have bands today that are using recording techniques from the 70s and 80s to try and give their music that iconic sound of the era. Then you also have the rockabilly and psychobilly scenes, which were heavily inspired by 1950s and 60s counterculture. And they're still around, and I've met many, alternative people that have been into that scene as well. And honestly, I kind of encourage this type of music revival, reviving dead genres from, decades ago and recreating them today. And the reason why I prefer artists doing that now is because, unfortunately, with the rise of AI, I know it might sound funny to hear an AI soul cover of a popular song. It's just a keyboard and a prompt. And, I would rather have actual artists that have the actual talent and equipment, making that music, rather than someone, generating it on a computer. At the end of the day, if someone tells you that there's not a niche for your specific genre of music, have a go at it anyway, which is exactly what Twin Temple did. And, well, I found them and they found me, so I'm glad to be a fan now. But you let me know what you think about Twin Temple. I plan on doing a full review of them, possibly later on. Eventually. I don't want to make a promise that I can't keep. But either way, check out their music videos, subscribe to their channel, and show as much love and support as you can, because they definitely deserve it. A band like this is rare and very few and far between. Alright, demons and demonesses, you just let me know what you think. You guys stay safe, stay metal, hail Satan, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.